catch me howling at the moon.
What's up guys, and welcome back to Park Pros. Today I have my review of Thunderbird, a B&M wing coaster at Holiday World in Santa Claus, Indiana. Thunderbird is considered one of the best wing coasters in the world, at a park that's widely loved by coaster enthusiasts. But with a $22 million price tag, Thunderbird may have put a financial burden on Holiday World that the park still seems to be struggling with today. Let's take a look at Thunderbird and evaluate whether or not Holiday World has any regrets about building this expensive B&M wing coaster. But first, if you guys could do me a huge favor by going ahead and hitting that subscribe button below, it really helps out the channel, and almost 80% of you guys who watch the videos are not currently subscribed to Park Pros. By 2014, the small family-owned theme park Holiday World in Santa Claus, Indiana was nearly 2 decades deep into building up their reputation as a park with some of the best wooden roller coasters in the world. Starting with the Raven in 1995, followed by the Legend in 2000, and capped off with the Voyage in 2006, Holiday World's wooden trio have been a mainstay atop of wooden coaster rankings for years. But with the park's coaster drought nearing towards a decade long, many speculated that Holiday World's next major thrill ride was coming soon and would continue their tradition of great wooden coasters by working with a new age wooden coaster manufacturer such as GCI, Gravity Group, or the up-and-coming RMC. But on July 24th, 2014, Holiday World shocked the theme park world by announcing Thunderbird, a $22 million launched B&M wing coaster to open in the spring of 2015. Many theme park purists disliked that Holiday World was straying away from their unofficial tradition of only installing major wooden roller coasters, while others in the community commended them for finally diversifying their lineup with a steel coaster. And this wasn't just any steel coaster, it was from B&M, one of the most highly regarded manufacturers in the industry. The $22 million wing coaster would be B&M's first crack at a launch coaster since the Incredible Hulk in 1999, and would be their first launch that they would design and create in-house. Thunderbird construction was completed in March of 2015, and the ride opened to the public on April 24, 2015. Right off the bat, Thunderbird was widely regarded by enthusiasts as the best B&M wing coaster in the US, even topping Cedar Point's record breaker from 2 years earlier, Gatekeeper. I rode Thunderbird for the first time on my July 2019 trip to Holiday World. Here are my complete thoughts on the ride. Let's start by going through Thunderbird's 3,035 feet of track. You exit out of the barn-themed station building and crawl forward onto the launch track, accompanied by the sound of thunder and smoke effects. The ride starts with an LSM launch, which takes you from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.5 seconds. The launch is pretty gradual, so it isn't too intense, but you definitely feel the speed and you get pushed back into your seat. The launch takes you up into the ride's first inversion and most recognizable element, a 140-foot tall Immelman. This inversion sits high on top of the hill and goes up and over the midway, making Thunderbird an integral part of Holiday World's skyline. You dive towards the ground with the track slightly banked, which gives off some good positive G's when you bottom out. You then go up into a 125-foot tall vertical loop, and then hit back-to-back overbanked turns. These turns are 2 more great positive G moments that you probably wouldn't expect to be as intense as they are, but they're tight turns that benefit from the speed given off by the initial launch. From there you fly up into a 0G roll, which takes you up between the top of 2 tree lines and is a really snappy inversion. Then you go into a banked ass curve, go through a near miss and a helix, and into the ride's finale, a drawn out inline twist that features another great near miss element. This inline twist has great hang time, and the near miss element gives different experiences depending on which side of the train you're sitting on. All in all, it's a great finale to the ride. You hit the brakes, and around 50 seconds after the initial launch, the ride is over. Thunderbird's layout isn't the most groundbreaking or interesting, but where the coaster really excels is its pacing and speed. The actual ride time is pretty short, because this thing seems to just fly through its course, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the initial launch takes the ride up pretty high, and then the rest of the layout is for the most part pretty low to the ground. This fast pacing allows for a lot of positive G moments that are typically uncharacteristic for newer, non-inverted B&M coasters to have. The other wing coasters I've been on, X-Flight and Gatekeeper, simply don't compare in terms of intensity. And if you exclude inverts, the only other sit-down looping B&M coaster I've experienced that tops the intensity of Thunderbird would be Kumba at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Even though Gatekeeper at Cedar Point is taller, faster, and longer than Thunderbird, most people consider Holiday World's wing coaster to be the superior ride. I'm a big fan of Gatekeeper, and I think they're a lot closer than most people do, but I'm still in the camp that Thunderbird is better, mainly because of the launch, the pacing, and the overall intensity of the ride. You may have noticed that so far I've had nothing but positive things to say about Thunderbird, which may seem a little misleading due to the somewhat pessimistic title of this video. But now let's cover this hard-hitting question. Does Holiday World regret spending so much money to build Thunderbird? There's no denying that spending $22 million on one ride as a smaller park is a really big deal, and I've heard that this massive investment has really held down Holiday World financially over the past couple years. Since Thunderbird debuted in 2015, the only things that Holiday World has added are a relocated Calypso flat ride, a kiddie section for the water park, and a new dining area. In 2020, they're set to open up Cheetah Chase, which is their first major attraction since Thunderbird, but even then, water attractions are typically much cheaper than major dry park attractions. I don't anticipate Holiday World adding another coaster or doing a major expansion in the dry park for the next several years. I want to break down Thunderbird's $22 million price tag in terms of opportunity cost. Before that though, I want to make it clear that I think Thunderbird was a great addition to Holiday World. It's my second or third favorite coaster at the park, and it created the much needed expansion to the Thanksgiving section in the back of the park. But think of it this way, the Voyage cost $6.5 million to build in 2006, which factoring in inflation would be around $8.5 million in today's money, which is about a third of what it cost to build Thunderbird. Thunderbird is a really good coaster, but the coaster right next to it is quite literally one of the greatest roller coasters ever built, and it was only a third of the cost. I understand why Holiday World paid the hefty price to work with B&M. Their coasters are typically very reliable, are favorites of the general public, and last for many years without a significant decline in ride experience. Plus, Holiday World didn't just plop a coaster down and leave it at that. They put a lot of money into building up the surrounding area and making Thunderbird Station and queue look great, which I can really appreciate. But there's a lot of different ways a theme park could spend $22 million, and it just makes you play the what if game. For comparison, two other steel coasters that also opened in 2015 were Twisted Colossus and Wicked Cyclone, which cost $7 and $10 million respectively. Similarly, the record-breaking wooden coaster Goliath at Six Flags Great America opened in 2014 with a price tag likely between $10 and $12 million. There's a lot of different alternatives that Holiday World could have and probably did consider. Not that it matters at this point, but just for fun, this is what I would have done with that $22 million of capital if I was in charge of Holiday World. First, I would have skipped the retracking Legend received in 2016 and brought in RMC to turn the coaster into a hybrid. I'm not a fan of Legend in its current form, and I think its layout has the potential to be one of the craziest RMCs out there. Considering the price tag of the two RMCs that Six Flags opened in 2015, RMC Legend likely wouldn't have been more than half of what Thunderbird cost. Second, I still would have expanded out to the area of the park where Thunderbird sits, but instead I would have built an intermediate family-style gravity group coaster like Kentucky Flyer, which cost about $5 million. Just like that, you have an elite RMC and a thrilling intermediate coaster that the park is currently missing, and it's two coasters for the price of one, with $7 or $8 million left to add flat rides and other investments to the new area. Hindsight is 2020, but it is interesting to think about the alternative plans that Holiday World could have gone with. But on the other hand, it's hard to imagine Holiday World without Thunderbird. It's such a different experience than anything else at the park, and it really diversifies their ride lineup. So let's go ahead and place Thunderbird in our tier list. I'm giving Thunderbird a very firm spot in the great tier. It's a really fun ride, like most wing coasters and B&Ms in general are, but the launch and pacing pulls Thunderbird up into the great category. It's just overall a solid coaster that I have nothing bad to say about. And to answer the main question of this video, no, I don't think Holiday World has any regrets about their $22 million investment. Sure, there's other great ways that Holiday World could have invested that money, but Thunderbird is a beautiful coaster that was the catalyst for an entire new area of the park. And even if it's been hard on Holiday World financially, they've always been about doing things the right way, and it's hard to find anything wrong with what they've accomplished with Thunderbird. That's it for my review of Thunderbird. If you made it this far, please be sure to leave a like and double check that you're subscribed to the channel. Also, go give us a follow on Instagram if you haven't yet. That's where I post channel updates and let you guys know when the new videos are going to drop. Thank you all for checking out the video, and we'll see you guys next time.